We good?
Right, Davo? Are you talking?
I'm going to move that
Wait,
one.
no.
Oh, I did. Okay, we'll advertise for free time, you right?
I don't want to talk.
You're not talking.
Hello.
Yeah.
That's loud.
Luckily, I'm not talking.
Where's Pete and Gwen? Oh. Hi, everyone. On behalf of Sue, Dee, Bren, and the whole Thompson, we'd like to welcome you all here today. It's a little bit of an unconventional one, but let's face it, that's David. So I think he wouldn't want it any other way. I just have a poem that I'm going to read about David. Then we're going to take 10 minutes for everyone to go to the loos, grab a drink, and then the proceedings will go on. Hopefully they don't go too long, but we know what a Thompson speech is like. So I'd grab 2 drinks if I was you. His love of the ocean was second to none. The best fisherman, catching lobbies by the ton. He always worked hard with determination and passion. His white wellies and blue shirt became his only fashion. He built an empire, a legacy that will live on through his boys. They will see out his dreams with enthusiasm and poise. He loved a good banter. He always lent an attentive ear, whether it was at the factory or over a cold beer. The amount of friends he had was a result of his loyalty. You'd think this man was Cervantes royalty. He certainly looked the part, his tangled earpiece in tow, speaking at the top of his lungs everywhere he would go. You could always guarantee that after one meeting, he would give you a nickname that would be your new greeting. You couldn't talk about this man without mentioning his car addiction. The money he spent probably caused some marital friction. You see, everything had to be bigger and better than the last. You could guarantee one thing, his cars were bloody fast. To describe this man in one word, fighter would be it. For him, terminal cancer was not a notion that would sit. Life brought many blessings in its own funny way. We turned shit into Chardonnay, is what he would say. The friends, the support, the experiences that were made, we will have lifelong memories that will never fade. Every bump in the road, Wong was right by his side. Together with the family, they weathered every tide. Bobby, if life was a game you really did win, we will always remember that cheeky grin. David Edmund Thompson, the man, the myth, the legend.
Well done, Mickey. You did that pretty well.
10 minutes and the guys will be back up to speak. Hello. Oh. Hello. All right, guys. We're going to get some speeches up and running. Won't be too long. First up is David's brother and sister, Kelly and Hum. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming. As you probably don't know, a lot of you, this is my sister Callie and my brother David, as we all know, that's why we're here today. Tuddy, that's a name, Tuddy. That's the nickname that David gave him. He gave us all nicknames, as you know. And I'm Hump, and that's the nickname I got. And then you got Michael, and that's Sark. That was his nickname. And even Dogger. He gave him some names, some I can't repeat, but old Dogger got his name from David. Anyway, so David, as you know, his nickname to a lot of yous here tonight is Bobby. Now, I think a lot of yous here today also think that Bobby was given to David as Bobby the Lobby. Well, it wasn't, for a matter of fact. There's a guy here tonight called Hoof, good friend of David and Michael's, and he nicknamed him Bobby. And the reason why he nicknamed him Bobby, because Hoof was the only one that could get under David's skin, outwit David and out smart, or he was funnier than David. And what he used to do to David, he'd grab his ear, he'd go, squeal like a pig, Bobby. So I'm telling you, and this is a true story, if you go home in the next few days and put on a movie called Deliverance, that is where it come from. So there you have it. So that's a story there. Now, my brother Mike and Dave's brother Mike Sark, as we know him, I was having a conversation a couple of days. A couple of days after David had passed, and we're talking about all the funny shit that you know we used to get up to. And remember, Michael had 63 years, and I had 58 of it. And we were laughing and laughing and laughing. And he said to me, he said, Hump, he always put himself on the rhubarb. And for you who don't understand what that means, it means that he sat in front of the rhubarb and he said, bring it on. And he took it head. He took it head on. And I'm telling you, if it got hard for the bastard, he'd say, go faster. So that's something that Michael said about the guy, and it's so true. And anyway, so changing the story a little bit, a lot of you probably think it and probably know it, and I know it for sure. And my family does, my family and kids, my wife Michelle. If it wasn't for David and Wong, I can assure you I would not be in the position I am today. Or Kelly for that matter. And I'm telling you what, he just put his balls on the line. And he just said, go for it. And that's what he did through his life. And me being in the wake of him and Michael, but especially David, I followed the wake. And whatever they did, I did. So that's what I owe David for that, because he paved the way, And but I tell you what, blood in our family runs deep. So that's that. Now for Wong, I remember. I reckon I was about 11 years old, and Wong started dating David, and you know, me and Wong got on pretty well. You know, we actually lived together with David and Mum and all that sort of thing, but we were pretty close. And I remember one night in the bathroom, I was saying to Wong, I said, "What do you know? If you can imagine this, Wong was smoking hot in a day. I mean, she was bloody good looking."
Still is.
And still is. We know that, but she was pretty good looking, believe me. Anyway, I said to her, I said, "How the hell are you going out with that ugly bastard?" You know, I was 11-year-old kid, and she said, "Matt, he's fun to be with. He's a great guy. He's just rattled off a few other things, but if you can understand, that was the guy David was. He was so so special. He's so caring, and he didn't have the shit in him. Me and Michael got the shit, but he didn't. He loved everyone, and everyone loved him. And so at the end of the day, Wong, you know, I couldn't ask for a better sister-in-law than you.
Wait.
Than all of us, actually, all of us. And you're just such a nice woman. So good on you.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going to say one story, and then I'm getting out of here. But this is when me, Michael, and David lived in Bassendean, and we had a little room, and the three of us used to sleep in obviously in the bedrooms, and there was 3 beds, and I was in the middle. Now, all you women here today think that this guy was a gentleman. He did no wrong. Well, I can assure you he was a filthy animal. He was a pig. But anyway, so Pop gave David this go-kart. And as David was, I'm talking I was maybe 6, something like that. David obviously was 7 on me. So, but every weekend he would pull the motor out of this thing to get it to go faster. He would repaint it every weekend. He would he was doing shit as we know how he is. So anyway, him and Michael made this code up. What colour are we going to paint the go-kart, Sark? So I didn't understand the code. I knew nothing about the code. But David would get up, he would flick the light on, Michael would jump out of bed, pin me down, and that dirty bastard, he would drop his tweeds to his ankles, and he would fart. But he just didn't fart. He would pull the fenders apart, and
Oh, stop it.
and I'm not lying. And he'd fart on me. So this went on for months until I worked out the code. But anyway, so that was all cool. And then we moved to High Wycombe. So we still had the 3-bedroom. This is a new house we had. Still had the 3-bedroom room. And there was me, Michael, and David. Anyway, Michael got married to Sue. Off he went. So there's me and David. And anyway, Jeff Bruce, if you meet him tonight, he moves in. So there's still 3 blokes in there farting and carrying on. And next minute, here's this Wong comes along. So Wong is living in our room. So there's 3 blokes and Wong. So the farting kept going on. So that's that. And I'll just finish off with this. Look, as you know, David was a simple guy like all of us here are today. He was simple, but he had a go in life. That's all he did. And he had a bloody good one. So have a beer on the poor bastard.
Good job.
You want to stand here, Dave, so everyone can see you? We expected big, but I reckon it's real big, actually. Yeah, I got a bit of a story about his life. I don't know all the facts. I'm probably going to be wrong with a few. Hump will tell me tomorrow or the next day you got the year wrong, but I'm just going off a few things that I know and I asked Mum the last couple of days. The man was born in 1957. I don't know much from 0 to 15. His mum's here tonight. She could answer a lot of them questions. He left school end of year 10, as me and my brother did, because we were told from him that if you're not going to be a doctor, you might as well leave because you've got no brains. So he left year 10 as well. So that indicates he had no brains either. So that's a good thing. He started an auto electrical apprenticeship. He completed this term and then started his own electrical business at the back of his pop's garage in Guildford. After a few years of this, he decided a career change and went crayfishing. Started with his father, Dogger, on deck. Another couple of years of this, he decided that fishing was for him. So he bought his own boat, Albacore was the name, and he began the next phase of full-time life in Green Island. Just going back, actually, from 81 back to 78, I only got told this the other day all these years, but from 81, where we were at, back to 78, he met the Queen. And the Queen isn't the one in England. The Queen is actually the one here today, standing right in front of me right now. He made the best decision of his life to start dating Wong, our mum. Thank God. One of his favourite sayings, "You've been kissed on the dick by a fairy," and I can tell you he definitely was. We'll go back to 81 now. The two got married on the February full moon. Couldn't stop fishing when there was a bag around before or after the moon, so it had to be on the moon. No honeymoon, no nothing. 84, I come along. 86, Boob come along. Much to Mum's disheartened, she always wanted a girl. Boob was going to be called Bianca. Thank God he wasn't a girl, because I'm telling you, me and this guy have a lot of good times. And yeah. 89, 90, we moved to Savannah's from Green Island. Bit of a change, being in a house instead of a tin shed. Through the late 90s, early 2000s, more new boats, more pots, more land, more growing of the business with his brother Michael. 03, 04 is when I finished my trade, left school year 10, finished my trade as we weren't doctors. And one of his rules were me and Bob were never going to work deck with our father because it was going to wreck our relationship. Well, I'm so glad he changed his mind. I don't know why he did, but he changed his mind on the last month and said, "No, you can't come and work with me." And to me, those were when you're 19, you think you know it all, 5/8. But those 2 years that I was with him, I remember him at my wedding speech. He said those were the best years of his life, and I guarantee you they were brutal on me. I remember he was very harsh, but he was fair, and he taught us how it is, how to work, and those 2 years got it all started. So going into that 05, 06, he blessed me with the him and Michael blessed me with the opportunity driving my own boat. This was such a special moment because I was a third generation Thompson fisherman and the third Dave Thompson to be in the water all together at the same time. I'm not sure if this has ever happened in the past, but this was no disrespect to Dogger, but it didn't take him long before he got phased out. The youth are taking over. 2008, he started this. Too many people said the 2 hard basket should be the option. But nope, not Bobby, not Dad. Love the challenge. I'll do it. I'll make it work. Blood, sweat, tears, whatever you want to call it, pain, destruction. The last 15 years, this place is Himba. He is now giving his family the reins of running it for him. And I'm telling you, mate, we will not let you down. And I told him that yesterday, and I told him that on Tuesday night. We will not fail. Failure is not an option. Nikki said this was quick. Shit, it sounded like going for ages. Mid-2000s, more cars, more boats, more of the Bobby's favourite things. And then the worst one of all. Late 2017, the news you never want. Come to the hospital. It's not good. He was given 4 to 6 weeks to live. Taking it like a true hero that he is, he packed his shit and left to LA with this guy. As an immediate family, myself, Abby, Nikki, Mum. Mum wasn't in the conversation because we actually thought that she was not capable at this time of going emotionally and physically. So Boob stood up and said, I'm going. And I'm so glad that he did because the old man was not in a good place either. Without this man here and the fight from the old man, the 4 to 6 weeks would have been so true. But I also do believe this was a new beginning for him and Mum. Finding each other again. It's sobby, but to me, it's falling in love again. It's all the things that they never really had. Well, they had, and then life takes over. Well, this was it again. He told Mum this was the honeymoon she never had. 40 years later, 30 years later. The first few years of this treatment were going okay. We never seen him much. They were in US for 2 years, and it was painful, but he was doing well. He was defying all the odds. Us and a lot of others here today went on several holidays to the States and created great memories. But unfortunately, late 2021, things worsened. And the Queen and him had to go to Germany this time to try and find that miracle. This is when things got real tough for our immediate family. The bravery and dedication from both of them, Mum and Dad, is something that I hope you do all understand that without his fight, but without that Queen, without our Mum, Dad was done. We would be here making this speech a long, long time ago. I guarantee it. But as a team, well, not as a team, it was him and Mum. They fought to be able to come back before Christmas this year with such a special thing. We all went over there as a family. But really, 2 weeks in the last 18 months of seeing your parents does not cut the mustard. Just doesn't work. It's not going to work. You've got to make it better. So I know that Mum and us are so grateful of all the people that, well, no, there wasn't that many. Everyone had bookings. He was getting flooded with people. He was going to see them all. It was all happening. And this day is something that we weren't aware of either. Don't think that we did not plan for this. So we thank you for all the memories and all the good stuff that the people that never got the chance to be able to speak or see him for the last time. My mum personally has asked me to say thank you so much for all the flowers, the cards, the texts. Not after this has happened, but during the journey. That's what kept her going, especially because there's only so many texts me and Bub can send. Also, just one last thing with the thank yous. My wife, Nikki, Bub's wife, Abby, those two girls, right? This is today from them. Usually a ring of place, and they organise the whole deal. They baby me and Bub, and Mum used to, and now they take over that role. Without them, I'm telling you today, the last 5 years just would not happen. Okay, like these two women, if you don't know them, please make yourself and find them, because they are special as. His brother Hump, it took a while to get him over the line, but I thought his speech was fantastic. He wasn't keen. He's made this special pot here, which is, we'll tell you after, but it's like today's different than normal. I thought, Hump, it was great. You showed massive courage, mate. You and Kelly standing up here. Thank you so much, Hump. And there's just one guy today that just, I don't know. Savannah's has got him, and everyone bloody wants him, I know, but he just doesn't matter if it's football, if it's, I don't know. His resume's got a lot, and now it might sound bad, but he's got a funeral setter upper, old George Mossett. Fuck, that guy's a champion. Thank you, George. So in summarising and in leaving, there was no rules with this man in mateship. You could be 20. Sorry, you could be 8. His first grandson. He loved him to bits, right? You could be 8. You could be 100. It didn't matter how old. He would be friends with you. A lot of mine and Bub's friends are better friends with our dad than us. And that is so special. It really is. That's what makes it to me. Like, no matter how much power, money, authority, this guy was just, everyone was an equal. It didn't matter. He listened to everyone's problem, everyone's conversation. So look at the stubby holder. Look at him. Remember him. Love him forever. Goodbye, husband. Goodbye, grandfather. Goodbye, the boss. Goodbye, the man. Goodbye, the legend. But most of all, goodbye, my dad. You want a beer? No beer.
Why did you have to close on that sort of shit? I had it good until the end. Can someone get me, babe, Abby, get me a beer? Seriously, with lime? Thanks. Yeah, my speech is going to be a little different, a little bit shorter. Deet's the main child. I'm the second child, not the second favourite, but the second that came out. I've got a couple of quick stories, and I'm going to wrap it. I don't want to get. I have hundreds of stories about Dad, but I don't think I could go into it too deep without going out on the other side. So thanks, babe. Want one? Thanks. So, as you know, my dad, Dave, Bobby, he loved telling stories. He always liked being the center of attention. If it was at a wedding, party, barbecue, here, wherever, he wanted to be the storyteller. And if you didn't know about, if you didn't know that about my dad, you shouldn't be here drinking his free piss. So I've only got a couple of short stories, one funny one, so please laugh, because we're not trying to make this like as you can tell, not a normal ceremony for him. We're trying to make it a bit of a mix up. So please laugh, carry on. And then I got this one story that means something to me personally, that he tarred in, he embedded into us kids and myself, especially at the start, where I feel it started with my dad. So one story that I remember, this is before I started driving a boat. I would have been, 12 or 13. And I fucked a lot of his gear. A lot. Whatever. I didn't mean to, but I was just one of them guys. Whatever he gave me to borrow, I would, a boat, a car, a motorbike, whatever it was, I don't know what it was. I managed to wreck it. And I remember it was right there. And it would have been, it was before I started working for him, so it would have been 13, 14. He got off the boat, tired as usual. I don't know who was with me, maybe Jack and Corey and that. And we said to him, "Can we borrow your dinghy?" And he goes, "Yeah. You break it, you own it." And that was the standard deal. We wanted to go crabbing. It was the middle of winter. As we all know in this bay, especially people from Savannahs, you don't go crabbing in winter because you catch fuck all. Anyway, we didn't care. We were into it. We wanted to go see what was out there. So we had lunch with him, me, Mum, and Deep, no matter what. I don't know who it was there. And a couple of hours later, he had a nap like he always did. And I remember I reversed his old red Hilux down right here. It was right there. And it was a big, just past the big winter blow. And I don't know, a lot of people that are here right now don't remember or don't know what the bay gets like, but it looks magic now. But in winter, the wind comes from there and the swell and fills the whole bay up full of seaweed, and it's hideous. So anyway, he's napping. So we get there in his red Hilux, in his little dinghy, in his 15-horse outboard, and I reverse it down. And we hit it right around where that guy's standing in that blue shirt right there. And there's fucking seaweed everywhere and big mounds of shit. And as usual, I was full steam ahead, didn't care. Outboard up, bung in, crab nets in, bait up, ready to roll. Dad's sleeping right there in that house. That's now gone. And I reversed the dinghy in a rush, as usual, and hit this big, massive mound of seaweed. And I didn't know, but popped the fucking outboard off the latch to flat. So anyway, it popped down, and then the next hit of seaweed we hit, it fully stalled the whole car. So I'm sitting here, I'm getting, I don't know if you know me, but I get pretty aggressive as like Dad, and I'm slamming this thing into reverse, and it's bogging the whole car. So I'm clicking into forward drive, and I'm going back and forth, thinking it's bogged, but the outboard is on the big mound of seaweed, and we're fucking his gear as usual. So it's a bit of commotion going on. It's that loud that he woke up. 150 meters away, he woke up, heard the whole car carrying on, black smoke carrying on. And when I thought about this story the other day, I thought, why didn't any of my buddies tell me the outboard's down? So I don't really blame myself because I was in the car. I couldn't see shit. Anyway, Dad comes out of the balcony, out of his room, out on the balcony. He is fucking screaming. And I remember I don't know who was with me. I'm hoping it was Jack or Corey, whatever it was. I don't know. And they're standing there going, man, your fucking dad's going crazy. And then anyway, because he could see what was going on, he was elevated. He could see the outboard was down. It was supposed to be up. He come running down, and I'm still giving it fucking herbs. And by that time, I'm giving it full run up. And he comes running around the back of the dinghy, and there he's his outboard, 15 horse Mercury outboard, not that old, snapped completely in half. He wasn't happy. And I looked at him because he was used to me fucking his gear. There's a lot of people over the years that wrecked Dad's gear. A lot of his, a lot of the skippers of the boats and deckies, but I reckon I was up there. Whatever I touched, I didn't mean to do it, but I seemed to wreck anything that he had. So we waddled it back up to the engineer's shed, and if all you guys know Dad, he doesn't like spending money, so he called a lift out for the next week to the boat, and we got it welded up instead of buying a brand new fucking motor. He taught us a few things about landing gear. Don't land your boat, your car, your motorbike, or your wife, because they all come back fucked. That was one of his famous sayings to us kids. Now, I took that on board. I think I was just a little bit too young to realize, what he sort of was getting at there. So, but I was going to tell a couple of more stories, but I'm not going to get into it because I don't think I'll get through them. But one thing that our dad taught us I'm talking mega, mega young, was the value of respecting your work, respecting money that you earn yourself. He never gave us fuck all other than opportunity. A lot of people thought that him and Michael and Hump and that gave us kids free shit. We ain't got shit. They gave us an opportunity to prove ourselves. But if we didn't prove ourselves, we wouldn't have anything, and they didn't care for that. And that's what we're going to do to our kids. And I remember the first day that it started for me. I reckon I would have been maybe Day's age, 7 or 8. I was at Greil Island in the shack. It was at Gary McKenna's shack. I was sitting on his lap because we were worn out. It was late. Sitting on his lap after a barbecue and carrying on as a kid. And he got a phone call of one of his crewmen and said, I can't come to work tomorrow. And I remember it like yesterday. I was sitting on his lap and he got off the phone. Probably would have been Gumby, no doubt. Fucking pulling the day off. Or Yam, one of them. And he said, we got to get him off the main break. Do you want to work? And I used to go out all the time. I used to go out all the time annoying the deckies, collecting crabs and fucking baby crays and all that weird shit as you did as a kid, but never really worked. But I knew how to do it. And he said, you ready to work proper? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, what? You ready to be third crew? Dad had 3 crew. He had a jet boat, super quick. You had to get him on quick and get home. And I said, yeah. What are you thinking, Dad? And he said, well, I need you to help. We need to get this shit off and let's get into it. And I said, okay, well, how much you pay me? And he sat there for a few minutes. I took him a little bit out of surprise, I think, because I think he probably thought I would just get into it. And this is where it started for me. He turned around and said to me, how about I pay you 50 cents a kilo? And I went, fucking what? 50 cents a kilo? It's fucking chook feed. I didn't swear what as a kid, but... And he said, hang on, rabbit. Think about it. If we catch 100 kilo, you get $50. I said, phew. He said, you catch 500 kilo, you get $250. I said, oh, now you're talking. That's where it started. He bred that into me personally since 7, 8. I couldn't even see over the pot. I remember I'd stand there, wouldn't even be able to see over the rail of the pot. I would have to stand on the fucking the life tank to gauge craze. But he said to me, if you're gonna work, you have to lead by example. You're my son wing, and I'm gonna flog you. I ain't letting you go out. You ain't just getting on and doing the cool shit and getting off. You're the first one on, last one off. You were cutting up bait. You were washing off the whole boat. You're the last one. If you're my son, you're leading by example. And that, to me, since a young age, is such a special thing that he bred into to me personally. I'll never forget it. And I hope we can do that to our kids, Dee. Maybe stop buying them so many motorbikes. I don't know, but he grained that into me from the person I am now. That I think that from my dad and my mum from such a young age, just to respect the value of people, the value of money, the value of just doing it yourself and never giving us a thing but opportunity. So that's a quick couple of things that, I could go on forever about what Dad did for us. And as I'll touch real quick on Mum. Do you want to come up here, Mum, and stand next to us? Come on. As Dee mentioned, without this woman, even before Dad got sick, he would be half the man he was and had half the things he has achieved and got. Even us growing up, what Mum did for Dad to support him on all his trips to Seabird with his shitty dinghies and trying to go up against the O'Bernies. I can see you there, Jono. It was a joke, wasn't it, what we rocked into town with? But we did it. And then we went down to Hammy Bay, and all the memories that Mum had with us and Dad and support him no matter what is special. And as Deep mentioned, there's no way we would have got 5.5 years with Dad. He had 6 weeks to live. We went on a plane to LA. We didn't turn back. I tried to turn him vegan. He wasn't into it, but he got to it. I could tell you a story, which I'll tell you later, about the day that we got to the hospital there, which I can't probably stomach to tell it because that was horrendous. But without this woman next to us, we wouldn't have had them memories. The falling in love. That was a bit weird, but it was special for them too. And there's no better woman than to have Mum by Dad's side to give us them extra years that we have with him. And I want to raise a toast to Mum, Wongy, and put your glasses in the air and cheers, well. Now I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm done, but there's one thing I wasn't gonna do this, but I want you guys to, because as you know, Dad liked things loud, fast, and aggressive. The more mayhem and chaos, he fucking got off on it. So let's do it for him. There's only a few crew that know this. The people that work deck for him, which I had 3 years working deck for him, which is probably the most special 3 years I've had with him. Every time we pulled a full pot, we would yell out, "Bobby fucking boy!" So in 3 seconds, I want everyone to raise their glass and fucking shout it so he can hear it up there. Bobby fucking boy. 1, 2, 3. Bobby boy! Thank you, everyone. And then, by the way, it's Grandpa's fucking birthday. So happy birthday, Grandpa.
You've got to say a bit like Michelle.
There's 3 TVs, one there, and one in the marquee. Watch the presentation. It'll take about 10 minutes, and then we would like everyone to grab a shell and place it through the neck of the pot, and that's the sign of respect to Dave. Thank you very much.
Basically, it's the hunter's instinct
you know, you just you get such a kick out of when you see your response coming over the side. We're going about 100% better than what we were, so I'm not proud of them. Of course, I'm.
You been learning, maybe I've been learning, maybe I've been learning, way down inside, honey, sweet, I'm gonna give you my love.
Also been, excuse the French ladies, I've also been kissed on the dick by a fairy because I have had the privilege of working with both my boys hand in hand, going hard on that boat. The times I spent with those two on the boat were the greatest times of my life.
To have two sons to be so proud of that have turned out to be really unbelievably good adults and they're their own men. And then to be kissed on the dick by a fairy, Nani, don't get upset. But to be kissed on the dick by a fairy and have two fantastic daughter-in-laws that coincide with our sons, we just can't be any more gifted. And I love the shit out of them all, but I really mean it. I'm just so proud to be. So we got that nickname because when he was a baby, little bubba, because that's all he was a little bubba, he used to always lay on my chest. And to father, it was pretty cool. So that's where he got the nickname. What do you... Okay.
The reality of it is that I would love to thank all of the guys, and there's a fair few of them here tonight, that fished for Indian Ocean this year, because you guys ate all your rejects on ramp. And being probably a little bit greedy here, but first I'd like to, as I said, reflect on my life, and it all stems from probably, 32 years, what? You and I.
But it's gone, like, I'm taking a little video.
But there's a saying that behind every good man is a good woman. And that is definitely a fact, because I know without mine, I wouldn't be where I am. I know these people wouldn't be where they're going either.
There was something wrong, and a feeling that feels so strong about you. Then you gazed up at me, and the answer was plain to see. 'Cause I saw the light in your eyes, in your eyes. Don't be afraid, I just never would suspect a thing till that little bell began to ring in my head, in my head. But I tried to run, though I knew it wouldn't help me none. 'Cause I couldn't ever love no one, so I said in your eyes.
And I said it at the engagement party, I mean, if I ever had a daughter, I want her.
But I love you best. It's not something that I say in jest, 'cause you're different girl from all the rest. In my eyes, and I ran out before, but I won't do it anymore. Can't you see the light in my eyes? In my eyes, in my eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, nice, perfect.
Soldier that wants to jump into your fire. If you want the dreams of the sky.
You do this very often?
Yeah, every night. I'm doing it.
Look at me in the eye and tell me you're not lying.
I go for a run in the morning with my shoes. I come out here, hose all this down.
Watch out for Abby's bags.
Looking good, huh? Looks like a good patch of grass you got going on near the driveway here.
Got it.
Whispered hello, smiles melt in the snow, nothing but your eyes. Deeper than time, say love never right without words.
He's going to follow through.
David.
He's taking a video of that.
Look who's idiots. Look at
I'm
this.
going to laugh if you